Well, hi guys. It's the 11th of October, and today, working on this plow. I've taken the nuts off of here. Of course, I had to heat them up to get them to come off. Of course, that. Break them loose, and then they come right off, no problem. Just breaking them loose. But I'm going to cut the bolts off the plow points. This one's already off. Got 3 more to go. And I get them all off. I got the new ones. I'll show how much wear is on them compared to the new ones. Or I shouldn't say wear as much as rust. How much is rusted off of them. So let me get everything set up and we'll do some cutting. So hang on guys, we'll be right back. Okay, maybe we'll be able to do this and you'll be able to see. So let's see what happens. Oh, and yes, there are blocks under the plow to hold it up. Now a lot of guys would say just wrench the bolts off. Well, my experience is after they've been on 50 years, they don't wrench off. So you're better off cutting them. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to look at that first. I shouldn't have done that. Oh. Now how that got loose. But it did. Alright. Try again. As one. That's 2. That's 3. Now, from prior experience, this front one And bingo! First one's done. Now, to move on to the second one. One. So you get the gist. Oh. So you get the idea. I'll be back here in a minute. I want to move stuff around, get this front one off because it's going to be a little trickier. And I'll get the new ones out and show you the difference between old and new. So we'll be back here in a minute, guys. Okay, they're all four off now. That front one was a booger. These, that's the new shell. Brand new. This is the old one. This is the one that was on the back. And you can see how much is rusted off of it. And it's a bunch. This plow had sit for 30 years. The jack stand was gone, so it was laying down in the dirt like this. And that's the reason so much is gone from here. Because this plow, he only used it 2 years. And it may have plowed 200 acres total in its life. He bought it brand new. He farmed for 2 years with the stuff. And then the guy retired and everything sat. He'd bring it out and plow his garden, which was 50 by 75 maybe, and that's all it did. And he'd unhook it and it'd sit in the weeds. So it is what it is kind of deal. But got 4 brand new shears, bag of bolts. So I gotta take the wire wheel to each one of these, clean it up on the front side so it mates up good before I even think about putting them on. So let me get that done and I'll be back here in just a few minutes and we'll put one on. So hang on. Okay, I took a wire wheel to it because I'm going to take a DA to it. But I run it down there to clean that all off, make things easier. Took the wire wheel to the moldboard because it really needs to be a DA taken to it and slicked up because it's got a lot of pitting. All of them do. The front one, not so much as the rest of them, but they'll all get DA'd. So let me set the camera up so you can watch what I'm about to do. So hang on. Okay, now as I've said, I cleaned up this edge and this. Now I know I'm different in respect to a lot of guys, but I like to do stuff like this. It doesn't hurt, it's cheap, and it helps with rust prevention. So the next time you go to take one apart, it doesn't fight as hard. Okay? Now I will tell you, beware of edges, because they can be sharper than a knife. I mean, big time. Now I like to take a little bit of grease and put on the bolt. It doesn't hurt nothing, and it just helps for things in the future and eating and taking stuff back apart. Okay. I start at the front, and these are what are known as chip head bolts. And voila! These are lock nuts. Now this front one is a real son of a gun to get to. I may have to tighten it up with a wrench because of where it's at. Now there's a couple different styles of bolts used. There's plow bolts, there's chip head bolts, there's several of them. But these are made to where they can't slip. So you get the idea. So let me turn the camera off and get the rest of them done, and we'll come back and show everything once finished. Now note this edge up here, there's rust and wear, but they'll work. This is some of the stuff you get into when you work on equipment where it's worn, and this being a first year plow, there are some things a little different. This plowshare has a number 475-167 MI, and not in the books because it was a first year plow part number. They were changed. These are 16-inch bottoms, but you got to use an 18-inch shear or point on them in order for them to work on this plow. There's like an 1/8 of an inch difference in this last hole right here. This one. It's 1.5 inches to center, 3.5, 8 1/8. On a 16-inch bottom, it's 13.5. On an 18-inch bottom, it's 18 3/8, which is what this plow is. So you have to use 18-inch shears on this particular plow for them to work. A little goofy, but that's the way it is. That's the thing you run into when you work on older machinery. Sometimes there are parts breaks and things have been changed, so you gotta get creative sometimes. John Deere 4400 in case, the combines, first 2 years production, first year production, there were changes made. There were changes made through the whole series. So parts from a first year may not fit a third or fourth year. It just depends on the serial numbers and when it was built and what changes were made. But at any rate, guys, let me get back to this. Get these nuts on, get them tightened up, and I'll move on up the line. So I'll be back here in a bit. So hang on. Okay, we gotta tighten up the last one. So it already bit me. Already got blood flowing. Now the funny thing is, with all these shears, on all of them you do the same thing. You put all the bolts in and you get it where it's snug, you know, snug them up by hand with your fingers and make sure it's seated good before you tighten any of them. This bolt underneath, you can't get the socket on, and you can get about maybe a quarter of a turn with a wrench. Real nice place. Snug. I may have to start the tractor up, do the rest to get it good and tight. Okay. This one is the pain. Because the nut is literally right up against the side of the frog here. So you can only get about a quarter of a turn on it. Okay. All four new shears are put on. All the bolts are tight. Now what I want to do is take the DA to these to shine them up, and probably before long these shins will get replaced. They'll really eat up in here where this thing was sitting down in the ground. So as they say, that concludes putting 4 brand new shears on this plow. Like I say, I'll take a DA to the moldboards and get them slicked up good. As I said earlier, I heated this up, got the nuts off of it, because this has to come off because of that. And it's got a crack here and here and down here. So I'm going to have to take this pin out and beat that rust out of there and get a piece of pipe that'll fit over this, split it, and then weld it from about right here up to here to join this, to fix that. So that's what I'm going to be taking apart next, is this, and we'll go from there. But as the plow goes, that has to be fixed before it can be used. I wouldn't dare take this thing on the road with it like that. So we'll get that fixed. And I'll have to put this thing in the ground someplace to center it up and check my wheel spacings. I think I'm good right where I'm at, but we'll have to look at it once I get everything done and it's ready to use. I should be good to go. As I said before, the plow is sitting on blocks, front and back, so no worries about it falling on me. So guys, I'm going to get out of here. I'll be back. Nah, I'm calling it a day on this. I'll make a separate video on taking that apart and welding it up. So we'll see you next time, and as always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. She got 4 new shears, 4 good colors. Get that rod fixed and she's ready to go. So we'll see you next time, guys. Okay guys, I said I was going to take the DA to these moldboards. Now, I took the wire wheel to them and the rough. You can hear it. But take your handy dandy dual action sander and give it a good going over. Now, that's not going to solve 100% of the problems. However, you can hear it, but you don't hear that coarseness. These are pitted up from sitting, and this won't solve 100% of the problems, but it'll help a bunch. It'll slick them to where when you do use them, it'll slide across. There's nothing rough for it to grab onto. So you just keep going. Like I say, it's not going to solve 100% of the problems, but it will help a bunch. Now, it may not look like much has been done, when actually there has been. As you can kind of see there, I hope, let me zoom you in a little. All those little spots you see in here, those are pivot divots. It's rusted at, you know, where it's rusted and popped up. But it's a lot smoother now. The best thing to do now would be to get some sandable auto body primer and give them a real good heavy coat. And when you go in the field, the dirt will act like sandpaper and start taking that primer off. And as it does, it leaves those pits filled until they wear down to it. I know it sounds crazy to most people to do this, but it works. I've done this many, many times over the years to a set of plows that hadn't been used for a long, long time. And these have sat for probably the last 20 years in the dirt. That's why the points is wore off of them. But that kind of gives you an idea of what I do and how I do it and kind of why. And, you know, like I say, it's not going to solve your problem completely, but it will give you the ability to start plowing more trouble-free, because you're not having to fight all that rust on that moldboard. It's more slick now. So I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you learned something. It's kind of what I do in order to get things working again. And this is kind of Plow 101 for me. You know, we've changed the shears today. Put new shears on it, points, whatever you want to call them. And this is to help the plow the next time I use it, which shouldn't be too awful long. But this will help when I go to the field the next time with this plow to work. It'll help me do a better job quicker, because those moldboards will have some slickness to them now. So we'll see you next time, guys. And as always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. I'm getting it there, slowly but surely. We'll see you next time, guys. Okay, guys. I didn't get any video of this. I heated these nuts, got them off. And being this outside tube pipe was cracked, had a big rust spot in it, I got a piece of pipe that would fit over it, split it in half, welded the first half, which was bigger, on, and welded down inside both sides evenly. It's welded all the way around for strength, and it's welded the seam, and it's welded inside as well on both sides, bottom and top. Maybe you can see it. Ugly weld, I know, but it will hold. Normally I would replace this rod, but this part of it would have been the problem, because this is a hardened bolt, hardened rod, threaded to lift. So I figured the best thing I could do was find a piece of pipe. The rough bad spot was like right here. So you weld a piece all the way over it, in it, both sides, top and bottom, and then weld the other half on, top and bottom, and around this. So I believe it's going to work. Yeah, I believe it's going to work just fine. But I believe this is where I'm going to call it a day. I've got the got done doing the bottoms points. I've got done shining the bottoms up, and I'm going to go see if I can find some primer and give them a shot of primer before it rains. It's been spitting on and off this afternoon, and they said anytime after 3 o'clock we could be getting rain. So it's 3:30, so I'm going to call it a day. So we'll see you next time, guys. And as always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. Done a lot of work on this number 88 Massey plow today, and when it comes time to use it again, I'll have a bunch of adjusting to do. May have to adjust the tail wheel, I don't know. I may have to adjust my 3-point, I don't know. The plow to the tractor, plow sitting this way. If it was over, I believe the bottom will be right inside that tire. If not, I can move it. That's not that hard to do on this. So we'll see you next time, guys. And as always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. The work continues. Never a dull moment around here. See you next time, guys.